been a delay. We're just waiting for some late registrants to join us. And I guess we will go ahead and start now. I'll first of all start off by handing over to our chairman to give us some welcome remarks, and then we'll proceed with the rest of the program. So, Mrs. Adekunle, if you're speaking, you are on mute.
I forgot. Thank you, Remy. Good evening, everyone. Our guest speaker, the distinguished panelists, our trustees and members of CAN Regenesis Initiative, the moderator, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. When you think of an industry dominated by men, construction might be one of the very first that comes to mind. And of all the people working in construction, and this statistics is global, women comprise only 10.3%. This is almost certainly less in Nigeria. I don't have statistics for the population of women in construction in Nigeria. As CAN, we are a solutions-driven organization, and we do not want to stand around and moan about what could be. We want to be change makers in Nigeria, starting with the construction industry. In doing this, we find that including women and encouraging women is essential to drive inclusion and excellence in the construction industry. In fact, a McKinsey & Co report found that construction companies with more women experienced above average financial performance compared to those companies that didn't. When 30% or more positions were filled by women, those companies had a 48% likelihood of outperforming their less diverse competitors. So, to celebrate the 4th anniversary of CAN Regenesis Initiative and the International Women's Day celebration, we choose to challenge stereotypes, and we choose to support women to get into the construction space. This is beneficial to industry, it's beneficial to women, and it's beneficial to Nigeria. It is indeed an untapped avenue of empowerment and poverty eradication. So, to our distinguished panelists today, who have moved beyond the barriers that limit us and have accomplished strides in this temporarily male-dominated field, I say the challenge is ours and the challenge is yours. And I implore you to broaden your shoulders, because on it, female generations to come shall stand. Let's come together and keep this hope alive as we choose to challenge from today. Thank you very much. Remy, over to you.
Thank you very much for that, Tutu. Yes, as you say, this temporarily male-dominated industry, we're looking forward to when we'll start to have a greater percentage of women dominating this industry. Obviously, the benefits you already spelt out, we would all be looking forward to. So thanks for that, Ms. Tutu Adekunle. We would now hand over to Mrs. Yetunde Olashope to just quickly take us through what CAN is, what we do. And after that, we will be wasting no time and moving straight to a very interesting panel discussion. Yetunde, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Thank you for giving us an hour and a bit of your time. We're really appreciative of that. Our chairperson, Mrs. Adekunle, we're very grateful. Thank you very much for that inspiring opening remark. So without further ado, I'll just go quickly into telling us all about CAN Regenesis in the little time I have. CAN Regenesis stands for, so it's an acronym, Keep Hope Alive Nigeria Regenesis Initiative. That's the full name, it's a mouthful. And what are we about? We're about being part of Nigeria's success story through tangible action, advocacy, and affirmation. How do we want to do that? Our major intervention point is in the vocational industry at the moment. And our key focus for now is in the construction industry. We found that, this CAN was birthed through pain points. It's a woman-led initiative, but it has a lot of male support, so it's open to everyone. The board of trustees is comprised at the moment of women, but we're very open, of course, to support from our very able and supportive men. As I was explaining, the pain point was born out of the gap we saw in the construction industry. It was a series of meetings friends had, sitting down over lunch and thinking, there's a big problem, that it's very difficult to find quality service and the good quality workmanship in the construction industry. It's either we have, walls askew, very improperly finished work, etc. I mean, of course, it's the norm, but not everybody is like that. Of course, we have exceptions. And that's why we decided to birth CAN. Instead of complaining, we wanted to be part of the success story and turn things around in the vocational sector, as I said, starting with the construction industry. It's our 4th year anniversary of being formally registered at the Corporate Affairs Commission. As I said, when non-governmental organization, so we are incorporated as, trustees, incorporated trustees. We've been, over time trying to ramp up our activities. I'll tell you about our activities very soon. I mean, that we have been able to, things we've been able to achieve. In terms of membership, we're open to everyone. There's no bias and there's equal opportunity. It's open to everyone who has a passion to make a change and anyone who has an interest in being part of Nigeria's success story, starting from the vocational field. We have meetings, we're supposed to have quarterly meetings, members meetings, and of course, there's a little membership fee on an annual basis. Why construction? As I've explained, we saw that there's a big gap there. And the truth is there are many opportunities, even in terms of being able to financially gain from the industry for people in the vocational sector, if things are done properly. And how do we add value as CAN? Our focus is on training, placement, and when I say training, we train, the formal vocational training and also teaching life and soft skills. So we want to produce workmen with a difference, having the formal training and the skills, but also having, soft skills, things like being polite, cleaning up after yourself, being able to plan financially, and things like that, good customer feedback, etc. It's a journey that we're on. As I've said, we've been able to achieve some training. We've done safety training in the electrical space. We've done HVAC, for air conditioning, heating. Also, we have done, there's another training we did. Well, we did other things like clothing type outreaches for people in the workspace, so part of, geez, can you hear me? Things keep changing. Okay, sorry, it's the screen. So part of what we think is, people should look decent when they go out to look for work. Workmen necessarily do not have to look like they've been dragged out of, they don't have to look like what the cat dragged in. So we thought, giving people a sense of belonging and pride in terms of how they look was also important. So we did that. This year, we're planning to do plumbing, and also electrical, and hopefully some other types of vocational training. But I wouldn't want to bore you too much with what we do and what we're planning. We'll have a chance to also ask questions at the end of the webinar. I want to use this opportunity to thank our guests, our esteemed guests, panelists, and also a member, Mr. Otuyalo, who will be introduced by the moderator, who is an active member and supporter of CAN. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the webinar. Over to you, Remy.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, and now we'll be moving straight to our panel discussion. I'm sure a lot of people who saw what we advertised have joined this session, because they'll be interested in hearing from these interesting people that we have lined up for the panel discussion. Just before we do that, I will do a quick introduction of our guest speaker, Mr. Sonia Otuyalo, as well as our panelists for today. So I'm going to start with Mr. Sonia, who is our guest speaker for today. And just a bit of background into each of these people that we'll be working with today. So Mr. Sonia is an architect. So of course he is someone that is working currently in the construction industry. Is a partner of a company called Integrated Projects Limited. They've been in business for over 20 years. So of course he is seasoned in this space, an alumni of Lagos University of Lagos and the prestigious Lagos Business School. And I mean, he's had the opportunity to work through various types of projects in his years working as an architect, ranging from different types of buildings, whether residential, leisure, commercial property, even medical buildings. And this is servicing both private and government sectors. So like I said, he's clearly well-seasoned, well-versed, very experienced in this industry in Nigeria. And he has a passion for mentoring the next set of professionals in the industry. I mean, we're all interested in seeing people who do quality work, who show up for work with the right appearance, with the right attitude, and Mr. Sonia is certainly interested in contributing to the development of people within this space. Next would be our first panelist, Ms. Udoka Uju, also known as the Lady Painter. And she started playing in this space since 2015, since late 2015. And over the years, she's been able to build a really strong brand in this space. She doesn't do it alone. She focused on building, a formidable team. And I mean, together they're able to deliver premium services to their customers, whether it's residential spaces or commercial spaces that they do their work on. I mean, I personally also know her for giving back to the society. She has an initiative she started called Grab a Brush, Color a Life. And, they look at rehabilitating schools that are dilapidated. So some touch-up work and then painting the school and really bringing it to life, making it exciting for the pupils who go there. We also have Engineer Mimi Nwosu. She's an award-winning civil engineer. Strong interest in sustainable construction, and in the world today, we all know how important it is to play well in the sustainable space. And she's in fact, as of today, working on a project on concrete production, obviously looking at what's sustainable that will still give you high quality concrete. Right? And she also has a lot of experience in a variety of sectors within civil engineering and construction industry. And in fact, she recently released a film called Myths versus Reality, the engineering edition, in which she debunked a couple of myths behind careers in engineering. This has gotten to over 100,000 views across social media platforms. And it's given her the opportunity to speak to over 20,000 students, and share her story, provide her perspective as she navigated, this journey. She's now using her platform on social media to document her journey, and describing day to day what she encounters, what her learnings are as she navigates this world of concrete, right? And then our third panelist, Dr. Adetutu Ogumbi. Maybe we can tag her the Lady Plumber as well. And it's very interesting to see someone with the title of doctor taking up this role. So again, with Dr. Ogumbi, she's actually an experienced human resources and business manager, and has her PhD in human resources management and business administration. At some point in her life, with her interest to make a positive impact in the lives of youths and people, she started an outfit, GSM Education and Training Services, right? And she basically focuses on helping individuals find their purpose, align it with their passion, and then train and empower them to become experts or professionals in their various fields of interest. Till date, she has successfully graduated at least 200 students. That's no joke at all. And they started making it in the world today. A couple of them are on scholarships, and some of them are already business owners and yielding the results of the training that they have undergone with them. So these are the lovely people we'll be engaging with today, for our panel discussion. We'll start first with Mr. Sonia to give us his address, and then we'll dive straight into the panel discussions. Mr. Sonia, please, over to you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Like Mrs. Adekule said in her opening remarks, the construction industry globally has a population of about 10% women. But in Nigeria, that figure is abysmally low. And the construction industry in Nigeria has a female participation of about 0.2%. Now, when you look at the fact that besides agriculture globally, the construction industry is the highest employer of labor, I think it drives home the point that in the context of Nigeria, women are grossly underrepresented. In the first quarter pre-COVID, the first quarter of 2020, the construction industry contributed about 8% to GDP, to Nigeria's GDP. Now, for such a major element of our GDP to have such low numbers of women participation speaks to the fact that we all have to do a lot to encourage more women to participate in the construction industry. And that's why I think what CAN is doing is a very vital step. There is no greater way of motivating women to come on board or to attract them to a profession than having women that are presently in those professions speak and share their experiences of what they're going through in that profession. There was a research that was done. It's called Women's Professional Participation in the Nigerian Construction Industry, Finding Voice to the Voiceless. And I'll quickly just share parts of the conclusion of that research. And it says, based on the challenges that they identified, and the challenges were, one, lack of self-confidence in women to compete with their male counterparts in the industry, and the lack of awareness of opportunities for young women or young ladies to tap into opportunities in the construction industry. So some of the, one of the conclusions that the study brought up was, the study recommends that making young women aware of construction industry opportunities is needed to encourage them to build their careers in construction from the school stage in order to increase the number of professional women participating in future. It is also recommended that career advancement activities that are needed to sustain career path progression include training and mentoring in order to attract and retain women professionals. In a male-dominated industry, I don't think I need to say anything. There's so many men that already talk in this industry from day to day. My own contribution to this discourse is that in my 20 years of experience in industry, you find that your female colleagues tend to be more dedicated, more focused, and more detailed than most of their male counterparts. But the challenge you always find is to attract women into the profession. Some of us studied professional careers in university here. And what you find that in a class of about 100, you'll find that about 10 to 20% being female. And I think that's where this problem starts from. We all need to play our parts into attracting women into professions in the construction industry. And that starts by people like the ladies that will share their experiences to us, using forums like this to tell their stories. That, I believe, is a vital first step in a long journey ahead. And just like all of you, I look forward to a day where in the construction industry, women's participation is at the very minimum, equal to that of the men. And then I think we'll see real and tangible progress. I'm encouraged that Engineer Mimomosu is already using social media platforms to share experience to young girls, to encourage them to come and find their fits in the industry. I would yield my contribution now, and I would just start by saying that this is an important first step, and CAN needs to focus more on this topic. And that's one of the ways that we can add value and make a change in the construction industry. Thank you very much. And I wish all of us a fruitful deliberation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sonia Otiyalo. Okay, so we're just going to dig in now to our panel discussion. I'm honored to be moderating this panel. I'm eager to learn so much from people that we have on the panel. Engineer Mimi Nwosu, I think we will start with you, right? Yes. Interesting that you already have a movie on myths. And I want to ask, from your experience playing in this industry, yep, what do you have to say about the perception that people have that the construction industry is not for women?
I would firstly say that they're incorrect. Women do belong in construction. I think that people forget that diversity of employees in regards to gender increases diversity of thought. So therefore, that increases innovation and therefore more inclusive design. So we're in a world where there's men and women, etc., and all the multiple genders now. And we need to have solutions, engineering, not even just in construction, but just general engineering solutions that's able to sustain us all. By not having women involved, we are not including them in those sustainable designs that we seek. I also think that the perception that people have that women shouldn't be in construction is incorrect again, because I think people forget that there's multiple roles in construction. It has such a bad reputation with just being, oh, it's only manual labor. So in the UK, I'm not sure if everybody knows, I live in the UK. So in the UK, when people think of construction, this must be globally, when people think of construction, they usually just think of the manual labor job. So maybe just kind of constantly being outside and, you know, not really getting dirty all the time. But there's so many roles within construction. So for example, when I tell people I'm an engineer, they always say, oh, you must be outside getting dirty. No, I'm actually spending most of my time in an office looking at number crunching. Yes, I do go on site, obviously, to see what we're designing, but it's not, it needs to get rid of that negative stereotype that construction has. There's so much opportunity within construction and so much role. So whatever skills that you do have, there is definitely a role for you within construction.
Okay, thank you, Mimi, for re-emphasizing that. Like Mr. Otuyalu said, thanks for what you're already doing.
Thank you so much. Sharing
your journey and encouraging people to really come play in this space. Because, you know, as our chairlady said in the beginning, it's clear from statistics there is going to be, you know, value from having, like you said, diversity even within this workspace.
No, definitely.
Okay. Yeah. Our next question will go to Dr. Ogunbi.
Okay.
Dr. Ogunbi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm very fine, thank you.
So very interesting. You know that you have a BSc, an MBA, even a PhD, right? And so many other certificates. And yet, Dr. Like I said, we can tag you as our lady plumber.
Yes, it is. Very correct.
I'm sure, exactly. Looking at the names, most of us here are Nigerian. So I'm sure some of us can relate if I ask, you know, how did you get to, you know, deciding to take up this role? Did you have any questions from well-wishers, friends, family members on, you know, whether you were okay, were you all right deciding to into this profession? Can you just share with us how you decided to take this up?
Thank you. Okay, well, basically what happened, plumbing, there was a particular organization I was working in around 2011. And, you know, I was the administration manager and then of course managing the facility. And then there somewhere along the line, we kept having plumbing issues. I hired plumbers from everywhere and nothing was being done. And back then, that time I was even working on my master's then. And I was like, come, is it that in this whole Nigeria, there's no plumber that can actually come, get one particular problem solved without it erupting another issue? And of course, one of the person who finally came, gave me the solution to my problem. I told him outright, I said, see, his name is Oji, please, I want to learn plumbing. And he laughed. I was like, my madam, how can you? I said, I'm serious, I want to learn plumbing. He was like, you know, if you do this work, I said, forget that thing. I want to learn it. You know, of course, you know, these people are not learning. And for the sake that we are, you know, we know English, we could write, we could communicate, we could do much more in adding the skills. So that's how I got into it. I studied it under architect Ovie. He's an architect who is, but I was the only lady in my class. And everybody was like, oh boy, a lady in plumbing. I said, yeah, so I have to do it. And I did it. By the time I was done, I started doing jobs. And I had one motive. I said, I just want to be like this one guy that out of 10, 20 that I called, he was the only person who came, did the problem. I did not have to call him back or look for another one, you know. So that's how I started. So after I graduated, you know, I've been going on site. Of course, on site, they were like, oh boy, you know, and who cares? And of course, they were like, there was a particular site I was on, and one of the manager of the site said, "You are supposed to be sitting in AC and be receiving AC, and instead of you," I was like, "Okay, come. I've been sitting in this AC, but this is a gold mine. This is a problem that needs a solution." You know, so that's how I dived into it. And of course, it has been an amazing journey. It has been a part of me that I never even knew I could actually fit in. And training people now makes it much more beautiful. Being on site, your head is like, okay, I just have to get this done. Being a woman that we are, you know, we just want to make sure that we do things and do it right. You don't want to do it halfway and then go back and come back. And of course, clients will be calling you, what you fixed the other day is leaky. I had that. And, you know, we are all learned. I started my PhD. Why I even focus more on human resources? I said, you know what? Counseling, I did counseling, psychology, and education and entrepreneurship. So grooming people to discover what they could do, aligning it to their purpose, and then, you know, they become who they want to be, who they have assigned to be, who they're predestined to be. You know, so that's why by the time I was sitting in PhD, of course somebody knows I'm a plumber, and of course I like that high hey oh thing when you introduce yourself, and by the time you're done, you say I'm a lady plumber. Everybody's like, oh boy. You know, so that's about it. So having the PhD to me was just a platform I could launch on, that I'm establishing GSM Education to empower everyone, women, youth, most especially. Don't sit down there and say, because you don't have this, that's the reason why. Okay, have education. So what is your excuse? Okay, you want to tell me you don't have education? I'm a plumber. So what do you want to tell me now that I cannot do? You know, so I did it all round, and it's so far so good. It's been amazing. It's really been amazing.
Thank you. So maybe I should just ask you this again, Dr. Ogunbiyi. Just interested to know, as at today, so you've started doing plumbing jobs. Is this all that you do today? Do you still use your other skills, your other certificates, if I can put it that way? And how do you sort of merge, you know, your life on your other?
I am not going to say that it's actually a bed of roses. It's having like so many caps that you have to wear and wear them well. You know, being a mother, being a wife, being a teacher, being a human resource manager, managing 13 branches of a particular company of more than 340 staff. I do that and still manage my customers. So it's like my 24 hours is kind of very choked. And somehow, for the plumbing aspect, I've been able to train a whole lot. At least I have 10 solid people that I know when I send them to site, it's like me on site. I only go on site on rare occasions where the client is saying, okay, I really want to meet Adetutu. I want you to, you know, that's the only time I have to be there. And of course, before I start having children, I go to outside Lagos, outside Nigeria. Hey, oh yeah, this place like that. We've been doing all that. But now, because I have capable hands who have been doing the jobs for me, I don't, for the plumbing stuff, out of 10 jobs, I probably will just go around supervising, but not like staying there and making sure I study from start to finish. Now, for other certificates, yes, I'm still practicing. I'm still a very good human resource personnel, managing, doing, I'm using every part of my certificate. I'm a person that used to tell myself that I have time that I don't have to waste. So I have to make good use of everything that I want and make good use of it. So I have no time to waste. I arrange my time. By the time I'm done, I get home exhausted, and you sleep and you're like, it's like time. And it's like the day is already awake. It's like a 24 hours. It's already 48 hours, you know. So yeah, it's challenging and yet interesting, because I'm telling myself I don't want to get to the point where God is going to start asking you questions, okay, all the time and all the things. So I'm just making good use of it. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, you did. Thank you so much. Okay, so for now, I'm going to go back again to you, Engineer Mimi Nwosu.
Hello.
still following on myths, possible misconceptions, that people might have about your field. Can you, I know you have a whole production out there, but can you maybe quickly summarize for us what the message is in the film that you made, in terms of these are myths or misconceptions and these are the real facts?
So the video I made was kind of a summary of, so in the UK, the construction industry is actually is a much booming industry. It actually contributes a lot to our economy. And I found that in the construction industry in the UK, there's not a lot of Black people. So I made that video to actually bust the myths for Black people that the construction industry is for them, because we're such a minority in the UK, really and truly. And not a lot of us are in engineering roles or in construction roles. So essentially, that's what I made that video for. So one of the myths that I busted was that to be an engineer, that you have to be incredibly smart and have all of these qualifications. I have a degree and a master's, but in the UK, there are so many routes into engineering. So you can go to university, you could do apprenticeships, or you can apply directly to organizations who would train you in order to do that. Another myth is that women don't belong. As I said before, there are so many roles in the engineering and construction industry that women can successfully do, even the ones that they say that men are only meant to be doing. I've seen a lot of women on the sites that I go to doing all of these roles, and it is possible. With hard work and determination, anything is possible. Another myth that I've busted is that, think of it now. That with the construction industry, that you can't change the world. So as I said before, construction actually contributes a lot to the economy. It's a booming industry. Regardless, people will be building buildings or they'll be constantly building infrastructure. So it's a job it's not just a job, it's a career. When projects finish, you will go on to another one, and it's kind of on rolling. And also another myth I busted is that on site, there is no one that knows everything. Every project is different and every day is a learning curve. And I think that in itself is very important for women, because I know that when you go on site, there are people out there who will try to intimidate you, try to make you feel like you don't know anything. I've had instances where people have said to me, "Oh, but Mimi, how can you do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I've got 2 degrees and I've been on site for how many years? How can you tell me that I don't know about what I'm talking about?" So it's about having that self-determination, willingness to learn, and really, really listening to people on site as well, because there's so much that you can take in subconsciously. I've been in meetings where I haven't said anything, but when people ask me about certain aspects of the project that I'm on, I can tell you everything, because I've learned from just being in that meeting alone. I haven't said anything, but I've learned a lot just from listening to my colleagues as well.
Okay, thank you. So, some interesting points that you raised, and I think one of them is important and very relevant to Nigeria, which is there's always going to be need for buildings, and all the work associated with the civil space.
Yes.
And I think Dr. Ogumbi touched on this as well. Right? So it's one of the reasons why Khan is passionate about playing in this vocational space, because, like she said, you don't have a degree, you can get a vocational skill. It's working with your hands. To your point, it's not about having Einstein's brain necessarily. Yeah. It's just about being able to piece things together. And
having a general interest. One of the best engineers I know has no qualifications whatsoever. So I think that just says everything. He's extremely willing to learn, and he's like a sponge, and he has a wealth and breadth of experience in multiple engineering projects. And I think that's more valuable at times than having multiple qualifications. And that's coming from someone who has multiple qualifications. So definitely, yeah.
Good, interesting. Like I said, important myth that has been bursted. I think, looking at the background of 2 of our panelists and seeing where they started off their careers and where they ended up as well. It's also clear. You know, you can, once you have an interest or a passion in something, you can learn anything and you can do anything, right? And to the point you made about it's not, you know, just what background you have. It's really, are you interested? Are you willing to learn? Do you have the self-determination and the confidence to know that you can go out and do it? Thank you very much, Mimi. So just to say to everyone that is on, if we have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat, and we will take them, you know, as we go along, having our discussion with the panelists. I have quite a number myself, but of course I would look out for whatever questions, thoughts that you want to share for those of you that are on, and would ask the panelists to help address the questions. Okay, so Dr. Ogunbiyi, I'm going to come back to you again. Again, I think if you play any role in the construction space, you see a lot because you go on site, you see painters working, tilers, all sorts of people, you know, doing their own bits. So I want to ask, from your experience, I'll start with you, Dr. Ogunbiyi, and Mr. Sonia will come to you as well, having worked in this for so many years. But Dr. Ogunbiyi, if we just start with you, based on your experience, and I imagine a lot of the work can be interrelated. So if you have sometimes someone who hasn't done their job properly, it potentially can affect you doing your work properly, right? So if I was to ask what you would consider to be the top 3 skills that are needed, and let's make it local now, in the construction industry in Nigeria, you say these top 3 are, and why?
Well, I would say that one of the skills that, working with all those people, with my experience so far, when working on most of my sites, what I do is, before I do my testing of after all the internal fixing of all the features, you know, I mark the place, use cement to just decorate the place where I don't want them to seal up. So by the time they are doing every other thing, you still have some aspect hanging. Reason why this is done is because no, I don't want to know who they are. They just know that, okay, when it comes to that work, I'm very, very diligent and pay attention to serious details. Because when we don't do this, the bricklayers may use cement to go and help you plaster a point where a pipe has not ever yet been connected. And then unknown to you, and because you're not paying attention, you don't have work relationship with them, you will just assume your work as far gone, or you are working with a team and you're not working hand in hand to them, making sure, checking on them. You realize that you end up seeing half pipes in walls, and in less than 2-3 years, you just start seeing leakages, and you'll be wondering, now this house is very new, why am I having leakages? You know, so my time I mark all my points down, please don't touch until when I say so. I mean, we now do our testing. We pay attention a lot to that details. We spend so much time on that to make sure that there is zero or nothing. That there is nothing or zero attention to. Sorry, zero attention. Isn't it okay? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello? Okay, sorry. Okay, so by the time we are done with our testing, all our pipes are fine. We cannot see any leakages. There's teamwork, communication skills. We have to communicate to come to their level, to let them understand what I'm saying. So on site, most times, you don't even know I have BSCF. We speak their language. I speak French as well, and I speak Togolese language. So I bring all those into play. Oga, do not touch this place. They know they touch them, leave them, you know, speak everything just to make sure that I achieve my aim, you know. And at the end of the day, it's a great is a great experience. You know, they end up saying that woman where they do plumbing work, you will not see work for. And of course, anger. I manage my anger a lot because they make you look as if, you know, you where you be woman, the work where we done they do for years since now you want to teach us, and you know, stuff like that. At the end of the day, well, so to me, I think communication skills, team management skills, and relationship, make sure you're able to communicate to them. To me, that's what I could say.
Okay, thank you for that. So Mr. Sonia, again, you've played in this industry for many years. So just to ask, in your own opinion, what would you say are the top 3 skills? So some of us are trying to see what skills can we acquire in this construction industry. What would you say are the top 3 based on your experience over the years? Mr. Sonia. Okay, looks like we lost him. But I don't know if...
He's back, Remy. He's back.
Okay. He's back on?
Yes, please.
Okay. Mr. Sonia, can
yes,
you...
I'm back on. Sorry, I was having connection issues.
Okay. So I was asking.
Okay.
Experience, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to yield my time to a professional colleague that has more experience than I am. She's female. She's an architect. Yeah, she's an architect, and I've graciously asked her to please use some minutes to say a few words. She tutored me when I started this journey. Her name is architect Mrs. Titi Adeleye. If you can hear me, if you can unmute your mic and answer the questions. I think it's important that we hear from women in the industry instead of having a male perspective. Architect Adeleye, can you hear me? Oh, yes. So I'll yield the floor to Ms. Architect Mr. Adeleye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Architect Sonia Tuyelo. I'm sorry I can't put on my video because I'm not in the, this is like an impromptu thing. And
that's fine. We sprung this on you, so please.
Oh yes. But I really am happy to be here. I said to join when I was going to be a group of women in construction. I'm really excited about the things I've had. The discussions have been, on point and top notch. It's a real pleasure to be able to say a few things. And, I would say in a few decades of my playing in this space as an architect, that as women in construction industry, the first thing you have to do is to assert yourself. Because, we have to accept the fact that we are playing in an African space and, and recognize everything that comes with that. And so you're going to get into situations where people would want to just talk, across your head or, so you have to assert yourself wherever you find yourself. Let them know that you know your onions and you know what you're about. And how do you do that? By, knowing your stuff and handling every job, no matter how small, with excellence. Let your job speak for you. And I dare say one thing I have done that has worked for me is that as architects, we can't really advertise, so we you have to let your work speak for you. And, don't walk away from any job. Even if you're going to lose money, let your name be intact. That's what I say. That will birth many other jobs, that would, make up for whatever. But don't, because, it takes so much to build up a brand and it takes so little, to kind of tarnish one's name. And lastly, one thing that I would say, and that has helped, is that you should try to build a good team. You should try to, over the years, as you're working, as you're going on, try to build a solid team so that when you have a job, you can send people there with your eyes closed. You can, it may cost you a little bit more, but at the end of the day, it's worth it. So as you grow over the year, make your workers family. Care about them, that way, that's the advantage you have as women. You have that, you're able to, show that, caring part of you. Care about your workers. Let them know that you care about their welfare. Let them feel a part of the company. Let them feel a part of the project. When you win, you all win together, and, carry them along with you. I have people that have been working for me for 20 years, 25 years, and when you have a good team that you really don't have to, how do I say that? You don't have to supervise to, and check everything they're doing. It makes your life much easier. And, I know I was asked to say only 3. Lastly, we should all have each other's backs as women in construction industry. Thank you very much. Thank you, Architect Sonia.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Architect Titi Adeleye. Well, we're not going to let you go just yet. And I see from the chat box, someone asking, they're interested in coming into the construction industry, and they want to know, in terms of vocational skills now, what sort of areas are considered highly needed, or what sort of areas do we have lots of challenges in Nigeria, because obviously that's an opportunity for someone out there to fill the gap, so to speak. So from your experience, is it electrical works? Is it tiling? Is it plumbing? What areas would you say are the top 3 in Nigeria today?
How I would answer that question? I would say there's a death in diligence. Honestly, just carve a niche for yourself and be diligent. Because that is very scarce these days. If you want to do plumbing, if you want to do electrical works, if you want to do interiors, if you want to do tiling, if you want to just do it excellently well, just carve a niche for yourself. And because there's so much, a lot of people are very, very lackadaisical, and it's like, Madam, take it like that. It's okay like that. Just be a little above, just be above average in what you deliver. Make sure you deliver, make sure you keep the time, make sure you keep your word, make sure and every other thing will just fall into place, really. I believe that I can't really say that there's really anywhere where we don't need people, especially in the technical space, because we see a trend where a lot of people are not going to that space anymore. So whatever you decide to do, and you see, there are projects where you can really demonstrate your skills. If you're going to go into tiling, there are projects where they need tiling to be well done, perfectly done. If it's electrical, if it's plumbing, if it's kitchens, if it's wallpapers, whatever it is, if it's locks, switches, whatever it is, just cover. If it's concrete, some people now do pre-mixed concrete, and it's so wide. Some people do concrete construction machinery. Some people supply workmen, to sites. Just identify the area in which you have a passion for, and go for it and do it, as best as you can.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. So, in summary, your attitude to what you do, and your ability to provide or to do quality work would be a differentiator. And I think, to what some of the other panelists have said, which I think is what you're repeating, there is a need for all of these services. It's really about people going out there and having the determination to learn properly, to have an open mind, to get their soft skills right. So not just the technical skills, but the soft skills as well, and make sure they're delivering good quality work. And from the sound of it, you will be able to carve out a niche for yourself if you do this. Thank you so much.
And if I may add, yes. Please make sure you get structure, learn structure. in whatever you want to do. Don't just go into it blind. It's always good to spend a couple of years, whatever, working with somebody who, knows about that vocation, that, it's not a waste of time. It's not a waste of your time. It's not a waste of your efforts. Even if, and I say this with all sense of responsibility, even if you're not being well paid, or even if you're not being paid at all, it really does pay off to spend a couple of years learning the ropes in the construction industry.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that important add-on. So there's some things, money cannot buy, like experience. And that's what I hear you say. Get that experience, understand how things work. So you're not just, flying into something that you don't have a good handle on. Thank you. Thank you so much, Architect Titi Adile, for gracing us, even though we sprung this up.
Thank you. I'm really glad to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to go to our lady painter now, Ms. Udoka. Again, for me, this is an interesting one. In Nigeria, where, having, a bank job is the real deal. You're in a bank, chilling in AC, doing your work. And then next thing we know, you left that, to start this business in painting. So Udoka, if you can share, what piqued your interest in this field? Were you looking at some accounts and then you saw paint in the accounts? How did it happen? Please share with us.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm really sorry I joined in late. I'm actually also driving right now, but I'll try to be brief. So I have never been artistic. I have never been a color lover. I love colors, but it was just like every other normal person.
Sounds like we lost Udoka.
Seems so.
Okay. So let's give it a while and we'll come back to Udoka. While we're waiting for Udoka to reconnect, we have another question. Someone specifically asking about trainings or skills acquisition. Understanding where can you go? You're interested in getting into the construction industry. You're interested in getting into the construction industry and you want to know where you can go that you are guaranteed of getting, good learning, good practice, good exposure. So to Architect Titi's point, you know that you can consider yourself to be well-grounded when you do, decide to step out on your own to start working. So, Mr. Sonia, I don't know if I can ask you to chip in here. Would you be able to give advice on how people go
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, I think one of the major reasons that I gave back to CAN was to address the issue of the lack of proper training facilities. One of the biggest problems we have in the construction industry is the lack of a structured learning environment to be able to train people in vocational jobs. So in the line of what Adile said, what I would say to anybody is that you will, depending on where your passion lies, construction most of the time is a passion-driven profession. Skill sets, but for you to be able to sustain in it, it has to be something that you're doing that you enjoy, just like any other thing, I guess. So what I would say is that depending on the part of of the construction industry you want to go into, you have to do is to go and intern in a company that practices that branch of the construction industry properly. So they're going into plumbing, you go to a company, there's so many subcontracting companies in Nigeria that offer internship programs that beyond the internship programs to also offer a career path after learning from those companies. Because if you want to go to schools, there are not a lot of them. It's unfortunate that in our neighboring countries, such as the Republic of Benin, for example, they have vocational schools and they're properly taught. In Nigeria, they're few and far between. The ones that are set up don't offer what I'll call robust programs that help. So the opportunities lie in, if you want to do some electrical work, for example, look for an electrical contracting company that offers that, intern with them, grow with them, pay your dues, then eventually you can then branch out on your own. Learning the ropes in any profession is important, and it's even more critical in the construction industry, because the greatest form of advertisement you can get is the power. So you look for a company that you can intern with, learn with them, stay there for a while, learn the ropes properly, because beyond the skill side of business, there's the organizational side of it, there's the business side of the business. Beyond the skill side of the skill, there's the business side of the skill. So you just have to look for a company that you can learn from and grow with, and then hopefully eventually branch out on your own. There are not a lot of technical schools that offer programs that are worth your while to go and learn. Well, that's all anyway.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. And I mean, to your...
Can I quickly say something?
Sure.
Yes. For people who are interested in learning skills in construction, that's why we're here at CAN. So please reach out to us. We have our social media platforms. We have LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and our project coordinator will put up all our handles. Our email addresses will also be posted on the chat space. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So I was just going to say, I mean, Mr. Sonia mentioned that at the beginning of his response, this is the reason why CAN was set up. We are a not-for-profit organization, and for those of you that joined early enough, when we went through what we do at CAN, it was mentioned we are passionate about bridging the gap in this space. So if you're thinking about it, like our chairlady has said, please do reach out to us on any of the social media platforms or any of the contact details shared, and we will be more than happy to help you navigate, and it will be our pride and joy to have, a good story to be able to tell at the end of the day in terms of, your success being our success, because that's solely the reason that this organization, which is not for profit, has been set up. So there have been a couple of comments, and I think one more question, in the chat, someone mentioning technical colleges and, what we can do to encourage people, female intakes specifically into our technical colleges. I think we can leverage Mimi here, to find out what we can do to sort of drive the messaging, so that to the point that Martins has made, to catch them young. Right?
What I would suggest, what I try to do, is show what I've gained from working in construction. Mm-hmm. And so, for example, so I'm, like I said, I'm from the UK, so it'd be very different to how it works in Nigeria. But I've been able to successfully travel around the world with my job. So because I work in concrete, meaning that I don't lay the concrete per se, but I do all the design work behind that.
Yeah.
And I've been able to successfully work in Thailand. I've worked in Germany, etc., etc. And I've also talked about, because a lot of people are motivated by money. And I think it's really important to say that there is really good money in construction, and a lot of people are swayed away by highly technical roles, and a lot of women anyway are swayed away by highly technical roles, maybe feeling that they're not good at the maths and physics behind all these things, especially when it comes to things like engineering and stuff. But one, I like to say to people, there are loads of software that there is to help, and that is now used in industry to help with that. And two, there are people who will be on the project who will be really, really willing to teach you how to solve complex issues, how to use the software. And also, I think that what we need to do as an industry is start to target people from young. So from a young age, and when you're at school learning about maths and physics and all of these things, in the UK, it's done aimlessly. When I say aimlessly, we are learning all of these formulas and calculations, but we're not told how it's applied to the real world. So we're just doing 1 + 1 = 2, but we're not told that actually learning algebra, you can design a building one day, or using Pythagoras, you could create maps, or learning how to use computers, you can start coding and make them the next internet, or learn how to use mobile devices or create apps or what have you. So I think it's really important to directly link, especially for girls, like to directly link these things together, and also to show that no matter your interests, there is a role in construction that is able to cater to that.
Okay. Thank you. I mean, valid points. Everyone would like to know what they can stand to gain by in getting involved in certain jobs.
Yeah, definitely. Because my journey into construction doesn't start in construction. I never wanted to be an engineer, and I've never wanted to work in construction. It was in 2013, I went to university to study a pharmacy degree, actually. I always wanted to be a doctor, but unfortunately I didn't get into medical school. So I said I'll study a pharmacy degree. And when I realized it wasn't for me, I was going to drop out. And one of my friends came up to me and said, "Oh, Mimi, why don't you come with me to my lecture just to see how it is?" And he studied civil engineering. And 15 minutes later, I changed degree, and that's affected my whole life. So I just feel like people should be open to opportunities and open to chance, and be willing to take risks. Without my friend saying to me that day to come to this lecture, I wouldn't be here today. So take risks, be open, and be a sponge. So absorb everything, like take grasp of all opportunities that come your way, and getting a mentor. I think one of the most important things that's happened to me is acquiring a mentor. My mentor has been able to open me to opportunities, vouch for me in places where I wouldn't be vouched for. So for example, when I'm in meetings and people don't want to listen to what I'm saying, bearing in mind I'm the head concrete engineer at my job, people don't want to listen to what I have to say. My mentor is the one who vouches for me and says, "No, Mimi's the head here. She knows what she's talking about," So you need somebody who will be there for you, willing to teach you, willing to present you with opportunities, and willing to show you exactly what it is that the construction industry is all about, and all the wonderful opportunities that can come along with that. Because construction doesn't just start and end in the UK. It doesn't start and end in Nigeria. It's actually
everywhere,
transactional. So
yeah. Thank you so much, Mimi. So someone has asked if you can be kind enough to share a link to your film. Maybe you can post it on the chat. We'll certainly also be posting it on our social media platforms. And I see a couple of other questions in the chat, sort of all related to, how do we navigate? How do we start? Someone asking if you need to switch careers. I think the short answer I would give to all of those, our chair lady said already, please feel free to reach out to us at Can Regenesis. Our administrator has posted our handles and an email address. Use whichever is more convenient for you. And we will certainly, like I said, it's our pleasure, delight, is the reason why we're set up, reach out to you to try and see how can we help you navigate this vocational space so you have a success story and we have a success story as well. I think we have spent almost an hour, 20 minutes now. Thank you again for everyone who has joined. I am just going to quickly hand it over now to Mrs. Funto Akinbiseyin to help us close. Unfortunately, we lost Uduka. I was looking forward to hearing about her interesting story. So I think we'll just end things here. If you want to reach out specifically to anybody who has been a panelist or our guest speaker, again, just reach us through any of our social media handles or through the email address, and we'll see how we can make those connections happen. Thank you so much for everyone who has taken out the time to join. Mrs. Funto Akinbiseyin, I'm handing over to you now for closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Remy. Thank you for moderating this session, Mrs. Remy Enrile. We've had the pleasure of having so many women who have chosen to succeed in a male-dominated industry. We've had a civil engineer, Engineer Mimi Nwosu, who has talked to us about the movie she made regarding the Black minority and how she busted some myths showing that women can actually successfully play in the man's world through hard work, willingness to learn, and dedication. And so with that, you can achieve anything. We also had a lady plumber, Dr. Gubi, who just realized that we didn't have any good plumbers, and she took it upon herself. And she talked us through her experience and how she relates to her team members. And we had a surprise guest, architect Titi Adeleye, and she mentioned that as women in construction, you have to assert yourself. That is, you have to know your stuff. You have to let your job speak for you, and you have to try to build a good team. And as women, we should have each other's back. We had a lady painter, Miss Udoka. Unfortunately, we were not able to hear her. Hopefully one day soon we will have her come on board. And we want to especially thank Mr. Otuyalo, Karen's main partner. He mentioned to us that construction is a passion-driven profession, and that to get experience, at least you have to intern. Find construction companies that offer internship programs, learn and get experience. And finally, Mrs. Adekunle reiterated that for those looking for construction experience, they should please visit CAN. We're available on social media, on Instagram, CAN Regenesis, Facebook, we're there. YouTube, we have a channel that you can follow. It's been a pleasure being with all of you today. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the knowledge shared. And it's been an honor to be among such accomplished individuals. I wish you all a very good evening. Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for having me, everyone. Bye. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.